students, this lecture video is on the centralization and decentralization of authority and responsibility, span of control, and nature and importance of staffing and process of selection and recruitment, which are very important part of management functions. In the previous lecture videos, we have discussed about the different organization structures, and we have also discussed about which is going to be the most suitable one for the different kind of organizations which are manufacturing the products, which are managing the projects, and which are also managing the products with the different under the different categories, like under the different geographical regions. So we discussed that which is going to be the best one, whether it is going to be the line or whether it is going to be the staff, or is it the matrix structure which is going to be most suitable. And we have confirmed that different kind of organizations will have different kind of the nature of working, and one common organization structure is not going to be suitable for every kind of product. So we understood that the line and staff organization structure is suitable for some of them, and product organization structure is suitable for some of them, which are taking the products in different areas and which are manufacturing the products in different areas. And also we understood that the metric structure is going to be more suitable because it is going to involve both line and staff relationship as well. So after discussing all this, let's learn about the centralization and the decentralization of authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility are directly related to the people who are going to be working in a position. Centralization of decision making is suitable for some of the kind of activities and some kind of organizations. All the decision making lies in few hands when it is a centralized structure that the organization is following. So in the centralization structure, all the important decisions and actions are taken at the higher level, and actions are at the lower level, and all the actions at the lower level are subjected to the decisions and the approval of the top level management. And according to Allen, who is one of the most famous management thinker, centralization is the systematic and consistent reservation of authority at central points in the organization. What are the implications of centralization? Let's discuss about the implications of the centralization. They are, most importantly, reservation of decision is always at the top level. Reservation of operating authority always lies in the middle level, managers, and reservation of operation is always at the lower level. So we can understand that the reservation of decision, when it lies in the top level, it will be transformed to the lower level through the middle level managers successively. So when the decentralization type of authority or the decision making is exercised in an organization, there will be a systematic delegation of authority at all the levels of management. Authority is retained by the top level management, but the discussions would happen in the middle level as well as the lower level to take the right level of decision. And all the major decisions are taken upon the proposal given by the middle level managers and the lower level managers. And all the policies that are framed in the interest of the organization are considering the lower level and the middle level managers' interest as well as the whole concern that the organization is. Rest of the authority may be delegated to the middle level and the lower level management, keeping the decision taking at the top level management. So in the decentralization, all extensions of delegation is given to the lower level as well as the middle level managers. So the degree of the decentralization will depend upon the amount of authority that is delegated to the lower level. So in the centralization process, the top management is going to be one and the only body which is going to take the decision, and the decision taken is passed on to the lower level through the middle level management. Whereas in the decentralization, all the middle level managers and the lower level managers are allowed to take up a decision and are allowed to take up a proposal, and they will be passing on their decision to the top level management, and the top level management reserves the decision taking authority. So, after knowing about the centralization and the decentralization, the major difference between the centralization and the decentralization, we can understand that the decentralization goes with the delegation of authority, and it is a complete process in decentralization. So decentralization can be understood in a very meaningful way, that everything that increasing the role of the subordinates is called as decentralization, and everything that decreases the role of the subordinates is called as centralization. So when we compare both the centralization and the decentralization, we can point out very important points like this. So centralization is preferred if education and the experience is concentrated at the top level management. Decentralization is always preferred if the education and the experience is distributed or it is spread over the hierarchy. And the centralization, when we speak about it is more appropriate in simple and stable organizations, and decentralization is more appropriate in a complex and the unstable organizations. When we think about the centralization, the third point of comparison could be with respect to the level of managers, where the lower level managers are not interested in participating in taking any kind of decisions. Whereas in the decentralization process, the lower level managers are interested to take decisions, and they are interested to participate in the decision making process. So in the centralization process, the most importantly, centralization process is better in case of vertical organizations, and decentralization is better in the horizontal organizations. So these are the four major key points where we discuss about the centralization and the decentralization, and by comparing these two, we will come to know that the basic differences in the centralized structure and the decentralized structure of organization. So let's understand what is delegation. Delegation does not mean that it is giving away all our responsibilities to somebody. A manager always assigns the task to the subordinates, and it is not the delegation. It is going to be delegation is always dependent on what kind of the work the manager is going to assign. So in order to meet the targets, managers should involve the subordinates, and they have to delegate the authority to some of the team members appropriately. So the delegation of the authority can be can be analyzed as it is a division of authority and power downwards to the subordinates. So the delegation is entrusting the work to the teammates and then make them to involve in the process. And the job is divided into many parts, and that the parts of the jobs are delegated to the many of the subordinates. So here, when we think about this, we can understand that from here we can understand that it is the subdivision and sub-allocation of powers to the subordinates to achieve effective results. If a major job is divided into different parts of the job, it is very easy for the manager to achieve the job result, the outcome of the job in a prescribed time. So delegation is very, very important because it gives a kind of authority to the subordinates over the work, and a better understanding of the work and better execution of the work in a prescribed time. So authority and responsibility are the two important functions which we are going to discuss. According to Henry Fayol, who is a major person who contributed a lot to the managerial theories, and he is a great management thinker, authority can be defined as the right to give the orders and power to demand obedience. So in other words, we can say that authority refers to the rights that are given to a person to order the subordinates and make sure that the works are going to be completed in a smooth way. So the authority is given to a person with respect to the hierarchy that is given. So in the hierarchy, it could be the vertical hierarchy that is given or the horizontal hierarchy that is given. So hierarchy is the one which is going to give the kind of authority that is given to a person to order the subordinates. And to facilitate the coordination, authority is very, very important, and there will be a chain of command once the authority is given to a person and he is placed over every authority. So without the required authority, it is really, really difficult to exercise the control and power on subordinates. So authority to a person gives some amount of power to execute the work from the. So the functions of authority are nothing but, if at all a person is given certain amount of authority and the power, and he or she will be able to control the subordinates with the right amount of work and right amount of attitude, right amount of the work that is to be that could be distributed in order to make the functioning of the department a smoother one. And this authority is going to find out the functions of the authority. Let's understand what is functions of authority. Functions of authority are, it demands and ensure the obedience from the subordinates. As I already mentioned, that it is going to give a complete the attitude control to the person who is given certain amount of authority and the power. So the function of the other authority, in other words, is that it helps implementation of the decisions that are taken in a smooth way and in the prescribed time. And it also helps in coordination of the entire team, and it also helps in maintaining the authority so that there will be a unity of command. What is the responsibility sense that it is going to give? The authority is also going to build a sense of responsibility. Responsibility is nothing but the accountability of one's action. If the responsibility is conferred to a person, then it is the manager's duty that to see that whether the person will be able to do it within the given timeline or not. So the responsibility of the manager is to execute the work, and responsibility of the subordinate is to carry the work. So the superior will be held responsible for his and junior's work that the working under him. As I already mentioned, the subordinates have to carry out the work within the prescribed timelines under the guidance of the authority given, and if there is any problem, that immediately it has to be brought to the notice of the superior, who would be able to execute the work in the given timeline with the corrections. So the more the authority the person gets, the more the responsibility he will have to carry. So he will be held responsible if the juniors are not carrying out the works properly. So let's compare the authority and responsibility. Authority refers to the power of command. Responsibility refers to the accountability of the actions. Once the authority is given, responsibility will also come side by side. So the authority comes with a position in the organization, whereas the responsibility matches the authority that is given to any position. So the authority can be delegated to somebody. In the absence of the person, it can be delegated to somebody for the momentarily, but responsibility cannot be delegated to anybody. It is a responsibility of one's, one person. It cannot be delegated to the other person to carry out by the other person. So the authority is the power to give the orders. Obligation is there to perform the assigned duties. So by the juniors, by the team members, there will be an obligation to perform the assigned duties. So always authority tends to make a person demanding, arrogant and autocratic. But the authority tends to make a person accommodative, humble and democratic also. So the responsibility tends to make a person accommodative, humble and democratic, whereas the authority always tends to make a person demanding, arrogant and autocratic. What are the elements of delegation? We discussed about the authority and the responsibility. Let's understand the delegation in depth. Delegation always goes with the authority. Authority is the right to give the commands. Responsibility is the duty of a person to carry out the commands or the authority of the assigned task. Accountability is it is going to give the explanations for any kind of variance in the actual performance for the expectations that are set. Accountability cannot be delegated to anybody. So if at all there is a variance in the design of any product, then the manager should be able to give the sufficient explanation or the relevant explanation why exactly the design got deviated, and then that will be referred to the design manager, design department manager, who would be able to justify the variance in with respect to the design of the product. So the delegation of the authority is that it is the base of any superior and the subordinate relationship. Authority is given to a person to control the entire team and to maintain the work which are given to a team. So the superior and the subordinate relationship, it involves certain steps. Let's understand the superior and the subordinate relationship step by step. So the first step is that assignment of the duties by the superior to the subordinate. Result oriented tasks are assigned to the subordinates.